What keeps you awake at night?
Sea levels are rising globally.
Fears fueled by horror stories.
Among the worst flu season in a decade, and it hasn't peaked yet.
We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous.
Another series of deadly terror attacks.
I don't want to be blamed if you cannot get to sleep tonight.
So, welcome back.
Hello.
Let's do the introductions because I fucking love those. My name is Olivia.
I am Brooke.
And I'm Bree.
Hi, Bree.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm ready to get spooky today, boys.
Let's get spooky!
Today we are broadcasting from the middle of the sequoias to read you some Campfire horror stories, which is one of my fave minisodes that we do. I'm very excited, very nervous. I waited until the last minute to look up my story because my roommates all left by Thursday night, and I knew that if I read anything when I was alone in my apartment, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Got it.
So,
Fair.
here I am
All fair.
at home with my horror story.
Nice.
I'm very excited.
I waited until last night to start actually writing, and I was putting the finishing touches on it when? 5 minutes ago. So,
Same. Big mood. We're very serious about
We're
this
professionals.
podcast.
we are, and I love it.
Yeah.
I honestly love, though, I messaged them last night because, like, I had planned on doing my story, like, a long time ago, and I was like, this is gonna be fucking dope. And I was reading it to my friend as we were on our way to the Nutcracker, and she just went, that's really short. And I was like, oh no. Like, okay.
It's a
So, like, while I'm
disaster.
driving, I'm like, okay, look up other instances of this. Maybe I can, like, bulk up my story and, like, nothing. And so I text the group. I'm like, hey, theoretically, what if my story is really short? And Brooke goes, I haven't even selected mine. I'm like, okay, so we're all fine.
Yeah.
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 It's
It's been a long
it's
week.
been
Brooke and I
rough.
have both had finals. It's been...
Yeah. I'm not even done yet, because I have a Spanish class that doesn't finish up until next week. So,
Yeah, semester system. That'll do it.
gotta love 16 and a half weeks of Spanish.
God.
Yeah, dude, for real, like, when I
God.
transferred to UCLA, like, everyone there complained about the quarter system, and I just leaned really hard into my mic and went, have you ever done a 16-week class?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the actual worst. And as someone
Because-
who has never been on the semester system, every week past week 10 was like just
Hell.
agony. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's what it is. It's like the content is spread out and like people say it's a lot easier, but like, you know, I developed like fatigue for my quarter classes. I think like 6 weeks in, I was ready to take the final and be done with that.
Right.
But realistically, I had like 4 weeks left, right?
Right.
On the semester system, about 4 weeks in, I'd be like, oh
Yeah, I'm
boy,
good.
am I ready to be done with organic chemistry? Oh shit, I have 12 and a half weeks left. Get fucked.
Yeah.
guess
Like,
I'll die. Cool.
Well,
it never ends.
And this is the
I
thing.
hate the semester system.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Absolutely. This is the thing is whenever I walk into, because I'm still on the quarter system, I haven't done semester systems yet, which like, not pumped for. But like, whenever it's like my final for that class, I'll walk in and be like, let's get this shit done. We are ending it now. I can finish this exam in half an hour if I really tried, because I don't want to stare at any one of your guys' faces anymore.
Jesus.
Outie.
Tired of your stupid mugs.
Yeah.
I'm tired
It's
of this
been-
shit.
I'm glad we can. Okay, yeah. Semester system fucking sucks, man.
It's the
like I will
worst.
fight anyone in like who disagrees with me and says it's easier. It might be easier in workload, but the emotional burden of
At
those
what
last
cost?
6
What?
weeks.
God.
Whew.
I'm sure it works for some people, which is great, but like also something that I've noticed, especially with professors too, is that professors will be like, listen, we only have a quarter system, this is what we need to do and this is what we're doing. And then you're like, okay, perfect. And then they
Great.
just
Perfect. Yeah.
shove the work on you, you plow through it, and then you're like, oh, I'm done, it's over. You know? You're out of it.
Right. Yeah, no,
What's
the good
so
news
wild
is that,
too
like,
is like my sister's still in high school, and that's technically like, you know, a whole year is one class, right? And so I completed I completed pre-calc in an 8-week summer class, and it wasn't that bad. It was pretty fast-paced, but like
Sure.
there's not a lot of material, and I was okay with it.
Yeah.
The fact that my sister's taking pre-calculus for 34 weeks is insane to me.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
did that.
believe that I survived high school where I was getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day and going to the same 6 classes every day for 9 months.
Yeah, isn't
I
now
can't
that you're an
fathom
adult
that.
and you're in college, you're just like the fact that you're like, "Ooh, man, I really can't handle this OChem class after being in it for 6 weeks, but at least it's almost done." Like, can you
Right.
imagine in high school, you're like, "Huh, well, another day that I hate geometry, but we're only 3 months in, so guess this is the way it is."
guess.
Well,
I just
Yeah.
I can't imagine what you're actually covering at that point, because you're going so like
Nothing.
if you can teach a pre-calculus class in we had intercession classes that were 4 weeks, and they taught advanced statistics courses in 4 weeks easily. So how do you make that a 34-week high school class?
I'm
You know
going
what I
to
mean?
tell you how,
even
Olivia.
begin
You
to
give all your
imagine.
teachers tenure, and then you drag that shit out.
Oh yeah, no, I remember way back when I didn't realize, and this is now we're having an aside, but now we're in full. I'm gonna yell about the public school system, so everybody buckle the fuck up.
And we're
when
changing gears. This is a different minisode now.
Yeah.
If you don't want to fucking listen to this,
Welcome
Alex
to-
Jones yell into the mic.
Welcome to Olivia yelling about the education system.
Listen,
ASMR.
we're not yelling about airports. I think that was definitely the
Hey,
weirdest
That's
tangent
fair.
we
Hey.
had in any
No, that's
episode. So
fair.
if I get to, this is my goddamn podcast. We can talk about whatever they want.
Oh, here, Olivia, let me just dust off the soapbox for you.
Thank you.
All right, here you go.
Oh, you polished it with some walnut oil. That's
Yeah,
very
it's nice, right?
Yeah, it looks
So when I went to, Brie and I went to the same high school. We've
Yeah.
discussed this. So when I went to that high school, I took all of the APs and honors classes. So when I left high school, I was like, that was a really good educational experience. I had really great teachers. I felt that way until I took my first non-accelerated course, because I didn't want to take AP Government, because why would I
did
ever
the
want
same
to
thing.
do that? And so I realized very quickly that high school treats the AP and honors classes very well, and the non-accelerated classes was they were like, we can't trust these kids to spell their names, so we're gonna have to water down this content a lot. And it was Brie said once, I mentioned something of history, and she went, "What is that?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" That was a core component of World War II. And she went, "Oh, yeah, see, that's where the confusion is. Instead of learning about the 1800s, we watched An American Tale."
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then they talked about the dropping of the bomb in Japan for 2 straight months.
Yeah, well, no, okay, so listen.
my
So, we did, this whole, because it was my junior year, it was for American history. And so we, instead of covering the mass immigration to America, which is such a huge part of American history and so integral to, just how America has developed as a country,
Yeah.
just on every level, we watched An American Tale.
Which is a good substitute and accurate, say, for American history.
And listen,
Yeah, I mean, maybe you didn't know, but we all actually descended from mice.
Oh,
So-
fuck. We didn't cover that in my AP class.
it's
No,
just
it's crazy.
old-timey pictures of mice in, trench coats.
This is my great-great-grandmother.
They're still cartoons, though. They're not actual real mice.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
But then so that was that chapter. But then my teacher decided to cover the chapter on World War II, when America had dropped bombs on Japan, in this massive article that we just spent 2 weeks just highlighting, annotating, and then we'd had this huge fishbowl debate and discussion in class that lasted for 5 minutes. And I was like, this is the most bullshit. I think we're not getting the American education system, because this is what this is, right? But
We just
Yeah.
wanted to have an aside I don't even know
It's
how this
crazy.
started, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I just kind
But-
of blacked
and it's
out,
so stupid.
and we just kind of started talking about everything that
but
I
like,
hate.
so- Olivia, I did the same thing you did. I didn't want to take APUS, which was like the biggest mistake of my life.
I took APUS. I didn't take AP Gov and Econ.
Yeah, I did neither of those. I just didn't want to, so I took normal U.S. history. And it's not even that the students can't be trusted. It's just
that's just the mentality of the teachers.
Yeah.
It's that they don't trust the students, and so they just sit you down in front of a bunch of videos. And of course, the students don't give a shit because the teachers don't give a shit. So it's this awful, vicious cycle of apathy. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a lot of it, right? I think that also the thing that boggled my mind is because I didn't want to take AP Gov Econ because what the fuck?
Fuck
And I heard it was like one of the hardest classes you could take at my high school, and like all the seniors who were graduating before me were like, please God, do not take this class.
Don't do it.
And so then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take normal fucking Gov and Econ. There's 0 point to this. And the last 2 weeks of Econ, swear to God, was us playing Settlers of Catan, which is incredible. It was amazing because I love Catan.
I want to say because my teacher did the same thing. I don't know if I was just blessed with a dull group of students in my like regular like Gov and Econ class, but I recall the teacher kind of like he sat us down and was like, these are the exact parallels that Settlers of Catan has to like economics. These are the terms we need to know. Like, very fun couple of days. Took an exam on it, which is to this day the easy exam I've ever taken in my entire life. The questions were like, what is supply? Right?
Oh,
it was
yeah.
multiple choice. And me and my friend Milan, we both exited and were like, that was a fucking easy A. And somebody just went, there were so many curveballs on that exam. And I was like,
No, there was not.
now that we've yelled about the American education system, which I think best parallels a camping trip where everybody drinks way too much cheap beer, yells for a couple minutes, and then transitions to trying to scare the shit out of each other because we're all in very small enclosed tents. Right. Now that we've gotten this out of the way,
Do I
let's
have
talk about scary
Do I have my
stuff.
own little like sleeping bag? Can I have like a cute little pink sleeping bag?
I
Yeah, of
honestly
course.
kind of see you in one of the sleeping bags where you can only see your face.
Yes.
Like one of those caterpillar sleeping bags.
Yep, that's
That's
the
what I was
one.
picturing. So basically this is my setup because we're doing this. I'm in a pink sleeping bag with just my face sticking out, and also my hands just eating like a s'more, you know.
With what your hands are tucked inside.
No,
of your
but like they're
caterpillar.
coming
like,
out of the
poking out,
face
I
hole
think.
to eat
Yeah.
the s'more.
How the
I
hell
would
did
like it if you were
roast that
trying to
marshmallow?
accomplish things like through the caterpillar thing, like,
Without the use
and you're
of my
just like, you
hands.
keep dropping your s'more, and you're
Right.
like, fuck.
Sure, we can do that.
I, on the other hand, am sitting with my legs wide open in jeans and like a hunting jacket,
Okay.
and like I'm holding like one of those like tin can mugs
Do you have a
that
backwards
like
cap
apparently
on?
everybody has in their travel
Jesus.
equipment.
Do you have a
yeah,
backwards
that's
hat
it.
on?
But not a backwards hat, but I have one of those like Holden Caulfield hats.
Got it.
You know what I'm
Sure,
saying?
sure.
The flappy
one of
ears.
those like hunting caps.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is my aesthetic.
Okay.
Right
Are
now.
you going around yelling at everybody for being a phony?
Apparently, I just yelled about the American education system teaching.
enough.
Like, yeah. So I think I'm there.
So
Everything's
we've got
bullshit.
Holden Caulfield and a caterpillar. I went out and bought a Hello Kitty sleeping bag that's one of those like inflatable mattress ones.
Yeah.
But
Love
the
it.
problem with those is that like the blanket itself is just a piece of felt. So I committed to the bit, but I'm gonna be cold as ass later when we're trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Wait, it's okay. So it's also one of those inflatable ones where you have to like you have the automatic inflator thing that's like, so like occasionally like
so
in
you're
the
gonna
middle
have
of
to put that in.
stories,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to flip it on to stay afloat.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put in like mechanical sound effects of like
Just like in the middle in a transition, you just hear. And
Sorry
that's
guys, I think it's a little bit deflating. I just have to fill it up one
Damn
last
it,
time.
I gotta fill it up again. No, if it deflates, I'll just use the hand one where I like just step on it a bunch, so it just goes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun time today. I feel like this is good.
Okay.
Yay!
So Do we want to start telling our stories and our ensembles and outfits?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Caterpillar, would you like to go first?
Yeah.
She scoots on like the wooden log that we've set up towards our like traditional teepee style fireplace.
Yeah.
Like, just
Y'all
Charm
have
fashion.
successfully perched me up on this log.
Perfect.
All right, ladies. So it's my turn to present my spooky story for this mini-sode. So get comfy, because today we are getting spooky.
Let's get spooky.
Okay, so
All right.
let's take a trip back to the past. You are a young woman living in the 90s. No, not the cool 90s with fun scrunchies and mom jeans. You are living in the 1890s, which makes
Lame.
which made things a little harder being a devout Catholic and an Italian woman living in Chicago.
Yeah.
But you have managed to get yourself a husband.
I did it. Mission accomplished.
You made it, Brooke.
and that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
telling.
But however, your husband doesn't exactly share the same faith as you. You see, your husband is a strict atheist.
Oh
Unheard
God,
of.
this is the 1890s. That's not good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen American Tail. I know how this pans
He's
out.
going to like Hell 2.0, the other one.
American Tail, the documentary.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, sorry.
Oh boy.
So, again, you managed to get yourself a husband. He's an atheist. Problematic. He is actually such a stern atheist that one day you hung up some paintings of the Virgin Mary to, in a fit of rage, he came home and tore down these paintings of the Virgin Mary and said, "I'd rather have the devil himself living in this residence."
What a dick.
Yeah. So, which, if it were the fun 90s, you might leave your husband due to his clear anger issues, driving away in your car blasting the song Down So Long by Jewel because you don't need him.
What the fuck? Okay.
I love this episode.
It's very specific. But alas, it is the lame 90s, in which you decide to fix your marital problems by getting pregnant.
Oh,
Classic.
that still happens, but okay, I'm playing along with it.
Christ.
Too real.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's a
Okay,
real
keep
horror
going.
story. Alright. Because a baby will only resolve marital stress.
Of course.
After 9 months of a hard pregnancy, it is time to give birth to your beautiful baby. But something went terribly wrong. The little angel you have thought you have brought to the world is far from anything sweet and innocent.
No.
Your child has a series of birth defects, including scales, horns, and cloven hooves.
This is
So
okay.
the devil. I gave birth to the devil.
Yeah, it could only be the work of Satan himself, Brooke.
Oh no.
I can't imagine like giving birth to essentially a small dragon with hooves, and then everyone's like, "This is a very strange set of birth defects." Like, no, bitch, it's 1890. Like,
It's a demon.
It's a
Just
okay,
demon.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm letting it
Demon?
go.
Alright. Being a woman of God, you are petrified at the monster. Unable to face what you have done, you have to get rid of the child. Of course, you could not bring yourself to harm the baby in any way, being a devout Catholic. And you could not see
Pros and
yourself...
cons.
What?
I said pros and cons of being Catholic. Give birth to the
Good
devil, but
Lord.
you can't get rid of it.
Can't kill babies, I guess. God, we're gonna.
Even if it's the devil himself.
I
But okay,
guess.
continue on.
I think you shouldn't kill babies regardless of whether you're a Catholic or if you're just of any faith. Olivia?
Hot take: you shouldn't kill babies.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
know.
not saying we should kill babies. I'm just saying this
We
thing
should
has
maybe kill
scales
the
and
spawn
hooves.
of the devil.
The pros of Catholicism. You don't have to kill a child.
That's their like opening line.
You
They're
won't
like,
have to kill babies.
oh shit. Well, you know what? That's
a
something I
major
need in my
selling point.
life.
I'm so sorry.
Continue
All
on.
right.
No, this is our fault, clearly. Okay. So you can't kill it.
Yes, being a woman of God, you can't kill it, but also you don't want to harm the baby anyway by raising it and exposing it to the cruel words of society and influences of society. So, you decide the best course of action is to bring it to the Hull House. And the Hull House is a community center that was developed in 1889, and you've heard that they take in immigrants in need, women and children. Maybe they would take this abomination.
Yikes.
Rude, but fair.
Well, it's ungodly.
Okay, well, I just complained earlier about how, like, she couldn't kill something with scales and hooves, and you're like, how dare you say that about a child?
No,
but now
but-
you're saying...
It's an
This has
abomination.
gone so off rails.
That's true.
Continue.
Okay. So maybe they would take this abomination. After dropping your baby off wrapped in a blanket on the Hull House porch with tears streaming down your face, you have birthed the legend of the Hull House Devil Baby.
Oh, shit.
What the fuck?
Rumors of the Devil Baby will continue to haunt you for the rest of your life. Some say that the baby disappeared when the Hull House staff tried to baptize the child. Some say that the baby mocked the priest during the baptism, causing the baby to be locked in the attic of the Hull House forever.
That's fucked up.
Jane Addams, the founder of Hull House, would deny the rumors of any demon baby, but would not deny multiple sightings of the child along with unexplained footsteps. So, yeah, that's my little spiel on
I just have so many questions here. So is the Hull House a Catholic organization?
No, okay, so basically this is the history behind it. The Hull House is a real place in Chicago that you can still visit. It's one of the first social institutions in the United States to just open up as a community center. It was originally made for immigrants in this country who were falling on hard times, especially women and children, but later just became a resource center for the whole community by integrating art, music, things of that nature. Jane Addams was actually really incredible, and she helped, like, just raise a whole generation of children that were left to basically starve.
If this is true, they receive a demon baby with scales and hooves.
Okay, but clearly it's not,
and they
right?
go, okay, well, obviously the solution to this is to baptize it. Oh shit, that doesn't work on a child with scales and hooves. Let's just lock it in the attic forever?
Well, so this is it, right? So the background in the story is that they, like, take anyone of any nature or creed, right? And so there was rumors that were developing because of paranormal sightings in the attic as well as footsteps that there was a devil baby, right? And so people said that he had scales, cloven hooves, but, like, the story would obviously change with the urban legend. But Jane Addams was very obsessed about this, and she would write a lot of articles and publish them about how this is just the stuff of rumors. There's no
Of course
such thing
it
as a
fucking
devil
is.
baby.
They're not having a demon baby clip-clopping in the attic.
Oh, man.
When you have a demon baby clip-clopping in your attic.
What a mood.
But yeah, no, but this is the thing that makes this story so interesting, ladies, is that, so Jane Addams obviously denied all of this, but later, there was, after Jane Addams' death, there was a lot of different paranormal experiences, especially in that room in the attic. So people saw apparition of Jane Addams as well as other members of staff that had died at that facility. So apparently it's a very haunted place. But it started off being really quite an amazing achievement. I think she was actually one of the first women, if not the first woman, to win a Nobel Peace Prize for her achievements. And I think she was a lesbian, which is incredible.
Nice.
So yeah, but so this is, and then the folklore behind all of it basically says, Olivia, going back to your question about the baptism, right?
Right.
It basically members of the Hull House staff wanted to baptize the infant, because they do that with every infant that is dropped off at their doorsteps or whatever, because it's the fucking 1890s, right? But
As you say, not the fun 90s.
Right, the lame 90s.
yeah, and then and this is a quote from Sharon C. McGovern, who had, like, hypothesized and wrote this thing on the devil baby, and she said apparently the quote, the Hull House staff took the infant to be baptized, but that it danced and laughed and broke away from the priest before the ceremony was completed. Thereafter, it was incarcerated in the upper floors of the house.
I love the word choice, incarcerated. Love that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. This story is just so fucking brilliant. Like, there's just so many, like now I'm like, this is insane. But I have to imagine there's, like, a husband that comes home and he's had a long day of work at the bank and he pours himself a brandy and his wife is, like, polishing a plate and she goes, well, have you read about what they're saying about the whole house? They're saying that there's a demon baby clip-clopping in the attic and I just don't know if we could go in that area anymore.
Well, and this is the thing, is the urban legend was so widely spread and so believed that people would come to the doors of the whole house knocking and demanding to see the child.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it was actually created a lot of issues for the facility itself, and it's just...
Do you think the whole thing was just a ruse, a clever ruse to discredit her work?
Possibly, perhaps.
Yeah,
I think that apparently the aspirations and sightings started, and then people started hypothesizing about this devil baby or whatever, and then it came from there. So like, I mean, I don't know. But like Jade Adams herself were like, I cannot deny the apparitions that I've seen. And there's been multiple people on staff who have, like, seen these apparitions and stuff. And it's, like...
That's weird.
Yeah, so, like, that's kind of fucked up. But, yeah, apparently, so there's... To this day, you can still go to Chicago and visit the whole house.
You can still go to Chicago to this day?
You can still go to... Oh, my God.
All right.
I thought it was lost.
Yeah,
all
it's
this
like
time.
Atlantis.
The lost city of Chicago.
Clearly we're still coming off the IPAs that we're drinking. I'm like yelling at the campfire.
Yeah, no, but you can visit the whole house, and apparently you can see the apparitions of not only the devil baby, but Jane Addams herself. So that's my spooky story, I guess.
You can visit the whole Hull House? Nice,
I'm leaving.
cool. I just high-fived myself.
And with that, if we may transition.
Let me scoot my caterpillar self off this log. Angrily
She
crawling
oriented
back to
herself
my
the
spot.
opposite way, facing away from the campfire. She rolls on the floor and rolls away, facing away.
I scoot like a caterpillar too. Like, I'm just like angry and upset. That's like
Little
any
sucker,
form of
hate you.
movement.
So, my story, my
Your
tale.
turn.
I picked a classic folklore tale about the tale of La Llorona. Have y'all heard?
Ooh! I almost
there's
did
a
this,
movie
which
coming
would have
out.
been amazing.
Oh my
What?
god! I swear
I
to
almost
God,
did this.
Whew.
this is why
That would
we
have
have to
been-
text our third person party.
I did message him and I confirmed with Jack that I was doing La Llorona.
Okay,
I didn't.
okay.
Brooke!
Sorry.
Of anyone in this chat, you and me
know.
both absolutely have to check with Jack.
We've earned it, I know. Okay, next time for sure.
So, the story of La Llorona has a lot of iterations. So I've selected one that I found the most interesting. This is like one of those this is like a very, very, very classic Mexican folklore tale. So like literally look this up and you're gonna find like a million iterations. It's like, I'm sorry that if this isn't the specific version that you grew up hearing, like, you know, sometimes it'd be like that. Just get used to disappointment. But this one's very
This is life.
interesting. And I love it. Not to hype myself up, but temper your expectations. So it all begins in a small town with a poor farming family.
As it
And the
always
couple
does.
gives birth to Maria, one of the most beautiful little girls that the town has ever seen. As she grows up, she's even more beautiful, and along with her beauty grows her pride. And she is so adamant that she will marry the most beautiful man that she comes across, that she scorns any other man that she doesn't deem worthy of her, right?
Well,
So when she's about 16, a wealthy caballero comes into town, and he is the most beautiful man she's ever seen. He, tames wild horses. He comes from a wealthy family. He's
How tall
very
is he?
handsome. What?
what was his height? of curiosity? It's for the story. I need to paint a picture in my mind.
6'2".
Oh,
6'2", okay?
Thank God.
The immersion.
Anyway. He immediately falls in love with Maria, as she is the most beautiful woman in town. And he showers her with presents and compliments and love and affection. She plays hard to get, as they do. And eventually, after he
Fucking
spends
bitches,
sufficient
am I
money...
right?
Jesus, Brie.
Ladies.
Jeez, the caterpillar has been poked and is mad. She's just turning around occasionally in her caterpillar thing and like yelling an insult and turns back around facing the edge of the clearing. He showers her with presents and love and affection, and she relents finally, and they soon have 2 children together, but they were not wed, which is important. Eventually, as time passes and the 2 children are getting older, he longs to return to the road because, as he is a young caballero and has money, he doesn't want to be around raising children. You know, sometimes it'd be like that back in the day. So he longs to return, and he starts taking trips for first a few days, then a few weeks, and then a few months, to the point where he would only return every few months to shower his children with love and gifts and affection, but gradually paid less and less mind to Maria. So as our years of this continuing, Maria gradually grows to resent him as she feels that she is not getting the love and respect that she deserves.
Man, am I right?
She resents her children, and she resents him, because she cannot marry anybody else because she's had kids, right?
Well,
so
I think it's also healthy to recognize that we should have a conversation with our partner, right? Because
communication
relationships
is the most important part of any relationship.
Right, relationships are just a series of expectations, and I think that if we don't make those expectations clear, you know, like, what are we really doing? You know?
Life advice with Brie.
I want that to be a segment. I think that'd be fun. Do not take any of it.
Well,
not a
Maria's definitely not going to be one to have healthy communication by the way that this story will continue. So one day, she's walking alongside the river with her children, and she sees the caballero in a carriage with a noblewoman. He is very flirtatious and talking with her, and upon seeing his children, he calls them over, showers them with love and affection, asks them how they're doing, and pays absolutely no attention to Maria. Without saying anything to her, he departs with the noblewoman, and she sees him pass into the distance. Now, this infuriates her, because her pride has been scorned, she feels beautiful, but she can't find another man because she's had children, and she blames a lot of it on the children themselves. So, she grabs the children, pulls them to the river, and pushes them in the running water. Soon she sees them disappear over the horizon, and she comes to her senses and realizes what she's done. So she starts sprinting alongside the water, following her children, hoping to catch up with them and save them. Soon they pass into the distance, far from view, and she trips, falls, hits her head, and dies.
Damn.
Soon,
bad day.
Someone from the... Not a good day for her. So someone from the village goes to fetch water from the local stream, and they find the dead woman on the ground, and they recognize it as Maria. So because Maria had scorned so many and deemed them lesser than her, she was given a proper funeral, but very few people attended. She was buried, and within a few days of her being buried, people complained of a wailing that they would hear by the water at night. And legend has it that if you go at night, you'll be able to hear the yelling and see a weeping woman running alongside the stream trying to save her children. Thus, the story of La Llorona, the weeping woman, began. And this continues. This is like the legend of her, and there's many iterations of this, like I said. But the legend has it that you must keep your children inside at night, because if she finds your children in an attempt to, save her own, she will steal your children from you and drown them.
It's a funny way of saving kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's in resentment for the fact that
Sure.
she can't save her own, so she kills yours. It's a story to keep kids inside. I thought this would be a fun one because there's like a movie coming out with La Llorona that's gotten a lot of controversy.
Is there?
Yeah, it's like a horror movie that's coming out, and I don't want to say like anything judgmental on it because I haven't seen it, and I'm very adamant. Like, I'm not gonna trash it without seeing the movie.
Right.
But
we'll talk shit, but in an episode.
Ooh. But when it comes out, but yeah, it's essentially the story. It's the story of La Llorona. And to my understanding, it's a white family that is haunted by La Llorona. So I'm not sure how that's
Cool.
going to be received, but I thought I'd give the background of the story because it's a very interesting tale and
Yeah.
a very classic story. That was fun. That was
Very
mine.
good. Very good.
It was a short one, but now we're going to transition to Brooke, who has written us an epic.
I have
to read.
apparently, and it's kind of weird that killing kids was a theme. Because
We didn't plan this.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun one, kids. Just as a preface before I start, this is I wrote this because there's very little actual English sources. Like there are no stories in English about this thing, and they're called the Milings. And I first heard about these in a game called Year Walk. If you haven't played it, do that shit because it's the best. And it's a Swedish folklore
Oh.
thing. I'm not gonna go too far into it.
Oh. Ooh.
Yes.
Sorry, the caterpillar just speaked up. I recognized it. Anyway, go on. Sorry, I
He's
can't know
hopping
what you're
over.
talking about.
Oh man, inchworm coming back. All right, happy to have you. So what I did, kind of like last time, I wrote around the idea and I did a story. So it's long, just prepping you. And also, if you've got an issue with like murder, this is definitely not going to be for you. It's pretty dark. Just the subject matter is dark. I did sort of pimp that dead kids are involved, so you can
So
skip
if you
this
enjoyed
one.
this episode so far, please leave us an iTunes review. If not, please continue on. But it's been a wonderful night. Thank you for coming.
We'll be here all week, maybe. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. I want you to imagine that it is the dead of a bitter Swedish winter night. You are walking home, maybe from your state-funded university, or maybe your job with excellent benefits. That's beside the point. The wind picks up around you, cutting right through the thick coat you have on, and as you leave the light of the street plants? Cool.
I love street plants.
Street plants. Guess we're gonna leave that one in. Cool. As you leave the light of the street lamps and cross into the forest that runs between town and your home, the moonlight glinting off the snow is your only source of light. But you've made this trip 1,000 times. You know the way by heart. There is no danger in the forest tonight. So, you start your trek through the snow. It's deeper than you remember it being on the way into town that morning, but you shrug off the thought and try to ignore the soggy crust of ice slowly accumulating on your pant legs. You pass a church. The moon casts a silver blanket over its white walls, bathing your path in an unearthly glow as you walk. There is something not quite hallowed, not quite cursed about this place. Though you would never admit it, you quicken your pace as you pass, half out of residual childhood paranoia, half out of genuine unease. The church fades behind the trees, and your eyes quickly adjust to the dimness of night. It must be nearing midnight, you think. Your feet slide into a rhythmic familiarity, and you allow your consciousness to haze as you look at, well, not really anything in particular. It's mostly trees all the way down, and occasionally unidentifiable small animals scurrying out of your way, snow falling from branches to the ground below. You could almost fall asleep in the steadiness of your pace, the muted grayscale of forested night. Then, an inexplicable rising sense of panic. You can't put your finger on it, but something, somewhere, is terribly wrong. First, it's a sense, and then it is a certainty that something is not as it was, as it should be. It hits you all at once, like something forgotten from your childhood, and it tears into your consciousness. You can't hear anything. The forest has its silence, yeah, a unique brand of uniform cacophony that settles at the base of your skull until you can't hear it anymore. It's the wind, the animals, the trees and brush, the snow crunching under your feet, and you realize that you can't hear any of it. You can't hear anything. You suddenly are aware of a pressure in your ears, like they're slowly filling with cotton. Rubbing at them, you realize that you can hear the muddled feeling of your hands over your ears. Thank God, you're not deaf. But through the thick silence, you feel something else building, cutting its way through. It is not so much you feel that you can't hear, but that there is an otherworldly vibration blocking everything else out. As your ears adjust, you begin to hear it more clearly. A note, clear and high, like the ringing of your ears after a gunshot. Then louder. Louder, unbearably loud, and rasping like the rawness of a human scream. It is a human scream. It must be, but it fills your ears as though it were coming from inside your own head, a human scream louder than anything you've ever heard before, never ending. A human scream. An infant scream. All at once, you're thrown off balance by an unseen force that plows into your back. Whatever it is, it hangs on with a vice grip, digging sharp appendages into your skin of your shoulder blades. Claws, nails, something. Your first thought is of some bloody-mouthed, frothing forest beast come to make you its dinner. So you swing your arms wildly to your back, desperately trying to pry the thing off. You can't reach it. You can't even hear it over the maddening screaming, so you do the first thing that comes to your mind. You slam your back against the nearest tree as hard as you can. The breath gets entirely knocked out of your lungs as your spine makes contact with the tree's trunk. You missed, but how? You stagger away from the tree, swallowing air as you try to regain your composure. When you stop seeing stars, you realize that the thing, whatever it is still there, hanging on your back, unmoving. For just a moment, the screaming stops. In a rasping, throttled voice that prickles your skin all the way down your back, you can make out the words, "Give me a name. Give me a name." You drop to your knees, covering your head with your arms to block out the sound. And as you do so, your knees make contact with something small, brittle, and decidedly pointy. It is the corner of a wooden box digging into your kneecaps, half buried by snow and earth and unspeakably old. Your curiosity overcomes your terror, and you slide the box from the ground with little effort. As soon as your skin makes contact with the wood, your throat closes around a distilled feeling of terror. Whatever curiosity you had is ripped from you. You should not, cannot open this box. But your eyes are drawn by whatever force to the path from where you came, the path back into town. You grit your teeth and rise to your feet. You know where this belongs. I wish I could say that the sound of that thing screaming fades into the background as you drag your freezing self back through the woods, but it doesn't. Each moment is as oppressive, as overwhelming as the last. The sound somehow finding a way to conjure fresh horror as you walk. The scream, peppered with phrases of begging for relief, for a name, tears at the fringes of your mind, and you wonder if this is what it feels like to go mad. You don't notice it until the first shimmering signs of the church come into your view, but you feel that your legs, your feet, your back are beginning to wear down. Not just tire, but worn into the ground as you walk. This wailing thing on your back, while initially about the weight of a terrifying sack of potatoes, is now craning your back toward the forest floor. Without noticing, you've begun to break out in sweat, and with each step, it becomes noticeably and unbearably worse. The church gate isn't far from you, no more than 10 or 20 feet when the weight of the entity pushes your feet into the earth below the cover of snow. You feel the frozen topsoil give beneath your shoes, and immediately you crumple to your knees. Knowing what valuable leverage you just lost, you curse under your breath but continue on, fingernails of your one free hand and shoes tearing into the dirt for whatever traction they can find. The screams get louder. As they do, the weight all at once flattens you to the ground, stomach pounding into the wooden box, knocking the wind out of you. You stay there for a moment, struggling to breathe, and wonder if this is really how your life ends. No one would even know the cause, wouldn't believe that a vengeful spirit had crushed you. They'd say it was hypothermia, that you'd gotten lost in the woods. But as you try to reconcile your impending death, you'd swear you hear the thing on your back scream no. The nails grasping at your skin and muscle of your back immediately begin to tear and beat as hard as they can, and you know at once that whatever it is no longer looking just to hitch a ride, it is trying to kill you. An instinct kicks in that you didn't know you had, and desperately you dig your hands into the frozen ground in front of you, breaking your nails and chapped patches of skin on your hands, and pull with all the strength you have left. You're afraid, terrified that it won't be enough, but your body won't rest for the doubts of your mind. You pull again, dragging yourself past the pools of fresh blood, your blood, that have formed on the snow beside you, black in the moonlight. As you reach in front of you for one last pull, your hands catch on something steely, thin, and cold, painfully cold. Your eyes focus on the wrought iron rod in front of you, the church gates. Shaking with adrenaline and a renewed sense of hope, you grasp your hands around the iron and pull for the sake of your continuing life as hard as you can. And to your surprise and utter relief, it groans under your weight and opens. The moment your body falls onto Christian ground, the weight and the screams vanish as though they were never there. You feel the open wounds on your back soaking your jacket, the only evidence of the being's presence. That, and the small wooden box flung in front of you. You stare at it, exhausted, in immense pain, and shaken to your core, but you came here for a reason. It takes you a few minutes, but you manage to drag yourself to your feet. Scooping up the box in both hands, you limp your way through a forest of headstones into a small church house. As if it were waiting for you, there is a small basin of holy water just inside the door. Without opening the box, you dip your fingertips into the basin and pepper the wood with its contents, and immediately feel a relief that warms your entire body from head to toe. A shovel leans against the wall to your right. You grab it. It takes until almost dawn, but a hole is dug, the box is placed inside, and the deed is done. The thing is buried. When the first light begins to peek over the horizon, you see a shimmering phantom, barely physical, draped over the site of your freshly closed grave. It is a child, or the form of one, not quite a toddler and not quite an infant, silent and looking at you with wide eyes, like a question. You have an impulse, one you feel you should fight, but an eerie sense of serenity tells you that you have nothing left to fear. You reach out and touch the form of this child. You are no longer yourself, and yet you are. You're seeing through the eyes of a woman, 19 years old, panting in the cold sweat, tears, and dull ache of her extremely recent childbirth. She's alone, except for one woman who holds the child now, in a tiny room with nothing but a bed and a basin of water inside. This should be a happy occasion. It is not. You get a sense of this young woman's mind, and in it you only feel fear and regret. You see, this child was never meant to exist, was never fated to have a family, not a real one. You remember as if her mind were your own, the face of the man who swore that he would marry her, promised a home and a family, the face of the man who had lied. You remember her retreat away from society the moment she began to show, and her meeting with the woman they called the Angel Maker, the woman who said that she could make this like it never happened. The young woman believed her, was desperate, and accepted the offer, to give the child over as soon as it was born and forget it had ever existed. Lying in the glow of one lamp, the woman reaches her arms out to hold her child. The Angel Maker before you doesn't respond, only finishes swaddling the baby and leaves the room without another word. From that moment on, she is alone in the dim light. She cries. You are back in your own mind, and you look at the swirling image of a child who never lived. Pity and distilled sadness rise in your chest, and you kneel on the ground in front of it. After a long moment of just looking, the spirit, in the voice it never really had, asks you one more time. Give me a name. What are you gonna name it, guys?
Oh!
I hate that.
Ew.
Now I'm scared.
I got chills.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something to lighten the mood, maybe?
Maybe like, I don't know, something fun.
Like
Absidy.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, like I want to see like a little. No, not Chucky.
Absidy.
Absidy. What?
Have you heard that story?
No.
There's like a woman who named her kid ABCDE.
Oh,
and it's
shit,
pronounced
yes.
Absidy.
Yes,
and,
I
like,
did.
She got really furious that like someone saw the child's name and laughed, and she's like, "How dare you bully my child?" And everyone is like, "How dare you name your child this?" And are shocked that people think it's a dumb name.
I love it. Oh, man.
White
Absidy
people,
it
I'll tell you
is.
what. Absidy.
And then the
Well.
child murders you because it's stupid as hell.
Oh, well, that
Yeah,
was
that's fair.
spooky.
Yay!
Dislike. Not because it was bad, but because I hate spookies. We all know this. That's
I
kind of
quite liked it. I thought it was
Thank you.
lovely, Brooke. You
It
did
was
an
a wonderful
incredible
story.
job.
I'm just afraid.
Intended effect, I guess.
Olivia's a little bitch.
Everybody else got the funnies, but nobody was willing to comment funny shit on mine.
I was just listening. It was entertaining. It was good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, I feel like I wanted like the mood to like stay consistent. Like I didn't want you
For
to
sure.
be like spooky, and I'm like, are you fucking telling me? And then you're like,
It was just-
oh well, there goes the flow.
It was a very good, and we were compelled by it.
Thanks.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much.
Well, let me take a last swig of my pab, and let's talk about this episode. This was fun.
Yeah,
I
it
enjoyed
super
camping
was.
with a caterpillar, and if you would like, now that you've finished your story, you can refill your Hello Kitty blow up
Oh God, hang on.
manually or with your electric pump, whatever.
Oh my God, this hurts my foot so bad.
Did you like you guys had blow up mattresses as a kid? Like whenever like friends slept over, we had a blow up mattress, and
Yeah.
like back in the day we had the manual, and then like I remember the day we had like the electric like
It's
air
so
pump,
loud.
and it was like the coolest fucking thing in the world. And now we're like, man, this thing is slow, and it takes like 6 hours to fill it up. But
It does.
air
It's
mattresses
so
apparently
loud.
are shitty. Am I correct
I
in
usually
saying that?
sleep fine on them, but yeah, they're not great.
They always
No.
sink.
Yes, in the middle.
Yeah, don't like that. Not good for my back. So, in future episodes, because I love these episodes, I think they're spooky and fun. We would like. Well, I thought it would be fun to like read other people's work, but none of us are comfortable doing that unless we have explicit permission from the author.
Right.
Ofs. So we just wanted to say if anybody is interested in like writing and submitting us stuff, and
That
like
would be
we'll say your
awesome.
name, cool credit, cool opportunity, you get to write spooky things and featured on a podcast. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be rad.
Or if you
Otherwise-
just if you just want to give us suggestions of like cool like urban legends you want to hear about or like fun stories, anything works. Just let us know. So
We
that
would
we
love
can
to
give
see your work.
Consent.
That would
right.
be
We want to
awesome.
give proper respects to the
credit.
person that wrote it and put their hard work into it and
Yes.
that sort of thing. So
Which is important to us. So,
yeah.
we won't be doing another one of these. I think our month turnaround time is. It takes like 6 weeks to like.
Yeah, to work our way
Yeah,
back
lap.
around.
With all of our heavy hitters and minisodes. But the next minisode we're doing is movie?
No, next episode is my presentation on our new series, which
New
is going to be
series!
CIA cover-ups and conspiracies.
Yes.
Mine's gonna be a bomber, but when are mine
Aren't
not
they
bummers?
all?
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
That's the
I'm a
the
depressed
entire point of
That's
the podcast.
the name of the game, baby. We
Yeah.
got bummers galore.
And we usually, like, as soon as I finish my episode, we pick a new topic just because the turnaround time on some of these is it's tough, my friends.
Yeah.
So if you have any, like, suggestions on stuff that you want to hear, we're going to do another poll. I like doing polls. I like seeing what, like, people are interested in hearing. I think, like, the ones that I suggested that I'm still excited about in the future are, like, snake oil salesman. Is a fun one, or like
Yeah.
diets. We talk about like fad diets. Those are like the top two that I can think of right now.
Oh,
But
for minisodes or heavy hitters?
heavy hitters in the
Yeah.
future.
I
I
love
just
the
say we
idea
pick
of
them
snake
really
oil.
early, so I want
Right.
to plant the seed now. If you have
Right.
anything that you would like to hear, by the time this episode posts, I think we will have pretty much recorded mine, right? Because we post them on Fridays, record them Saturdays.
Right, yeah.
So when this posts, if you got something in your mind, let us know on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at TTKMeUp. Same with Instagram. We're chatty. We like interacting with people. You can interact with us through our website on ttkmeup.com.
Hell yeah.
We love hearing from people. We love talking to people.
Also, we take submissions at our Gmail. I don't think we've ever given this out before, but we have one. It's ttkmeup@gmail.com.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you want to send submissions that way, like if you wanted to write a story for one of these, then
Yes.
submit
And we'll
through
credit
there.
you. And
For
if
sure.
you would want contact information on there, like if you're you're a writer and you're like, please credit my Twitter and like redirect people, we'll totally do that too. Kind of
Absolutely.
full credit of original work.
Yup.
And then otherwise, logistics. If you really like this episode, please give us a review on iTunes. We found out that apparently we got to play their game, which,
Gotta play the
I hate
corporate
playing by the
game.
man's game, but it really does help us out if you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening to it on. It shows that we have subscribers and helps promote us. Reviews also help, and actually physically downloading the episodes instead of streaming them contributes to our stats. So just suggestions, not requirements, but we would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
we're growing. Baby steps.
Do you like
So-
hearing our lovely voices? Then fucking do something about it, bitch.
We like talking, so we can do that for you. Also, in case
and we have
this
a
is your
Patreon.
first- Yes,
Yeah,
we have a
we have
Patreon.
a
That was
Patreon.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
still
yeah.
have
If
our one patron who has not given up on us yet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And we never talk about this either, but we do have merch. It's through TeePublic. We have partnered with them, and they have. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, baby clothes, which is cool, and mugs.
For your little
stickers
devil
and shit.
baby.
Right, perfect.
Also, I
Maybe-
want to say, now that we're like promoting merch and everything, also shout out to like artists. If you are interested in doing something, like, again, contact us, do a submission, and I think the logistics is like we pay you for the piece and for like the rights to it to like make merch. So obviously, if you're interested in doing that, we have to go through the logistics of like the legal things and make sure you're fairly compensated and everything like that. But if you're interested in doing that, hit us up. I like
Shoot
fans.
us an email.
Yeah. So obviously we're very worried about making sure everybody gets their credit when credit is due. Working is hard, and I want to make sure everybody gets paid for their hard work and the proper
Gotta
respect.
get that bread.
You know?
Oh god. Brooke, never again.
Alright, and with that I'm gonna close the episode because we've done our logistics, we've done our
Yeah.
spring cleaning. We love you all. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on this camping trip. I guess we're gonna have to, go to sleep now, enjoy the crickets chirping, and I'm gonna finish
Baby
up,
screaming.
I guess, this pab that I've been milking for like the entire episode. And I guess goodbye from a caterpillar, a Holden Caulfield, and somebody who's currently inflating their blow-up Hello Kitty mattress. It's been real, my friends. Deuces.
Bye.